right, welcome back. We're continuing our deep dive into Surah Al-Isrā, and today we're hitting part 4. We're about to get into another layer of these divine instructions, and these are big ones. They're basically the principles for building a just and moral civilization. So as we keep moving along this moral roadmap, you'll see how it branches out into 4 really crucial areas. We're going to talk about guarding personal purity, then upholding the sanctity of life, protecting the most vulnerable among us, and finally, making sure our promises are solid. And you'll see, each one is a vital step on the exact same journey. Okay, so before we jump forward, let's just quickly remember the foundation we've already built, right? It all started with the command to worship Allah alone. Then the deep, deep importance of kindness to our parents and our duty to give to others. We're picking up right where we left off in this incredible passage. And it's so important to remember this. Everything, and I mean everything, flows from that first principle. This entire moral framework is built on that one foundation, worshiping Allah alone. Every single social and personal duty that comes after is just a direct expression of that one core commitment. All right, now we get to the 4th moral standard. This one deals with the topic of fornication, or Zina, but pay close attention to how the Qur'an actually frames this instruction. The exact words used, well, they reveal something incredibly profound about human nature. So here's the key thing, right? Allah doesn't just say, don't commit zina. The command is, don't even go near it. Why? Why that specific phrasing? What's the deep lesson hidden in that choice of words? Well, this really shows you how proactive Islamic morality is. The Qur'an gets that major sins aren't something you just stumble into. They're usually the final stop on a much longer road. So instead of just putting up a do not enter sign at the destination, Allah tells us to block the road itself, to stop those very first steps that even lead you in that direction. And make no mistake, the Qur'an's language here is strong. It describes zina as open lewdness and an extremely evil way. And when you think about it, the reason for this is so clear. A healthy society, a strong civilization, is built on stable families. That's the core unit. When that starts to get destabilized, the whole social fabric can begin to unravel. You know, the Qur'an is so amazing, it even reveals Satan's go-to strategy. Allah tells us, "Children of Adam, let not Satan tempt you, as he expelled your parents from the garden, stripping them of their garments to expose their private parts." Think about that. The very first attack wasn't on belief, it was on modesty, on our sense of shame and our inner boundaries. And it goes even deeper. The prohibition doesn't just stop with the individual act itself. Islam also condemns anyone who tries to create an environment where indecency becomes normal. Allah gives this serious warning. Those who love that indecency should spread among the believers, for them as a painful punishment in this world and the next. This just shows you how much of a priority it is to protect the moral health of the entire community. Okay, so we've talked about the purity of society. Now let's turn to its security. The 5th moral standard, and this is a big one, protects the most sacred right we have after faith itself, the sanctity of human life. This is, without a doubt, one of the most foundational principles in all of Islam. And the core principle here is just vast. It's huge. Islam teaches that the value of a single human soul is literally immeasurable. Taking one innocent life isn't just a crime against that person, it's seen as an attack on all of humanity. And this idea is captured so beautifully when Allah tells us in the Qur'an, "Whoever kills a soul without right, it is as if he killed all mankind. And whoever saves one life, it is as if he saved all mankind." Wow, that verse just perfectly establishes the incredible, profound value of every single life. Now, this is a sacred rule, but the Qur'an does lay out 2, and only 2, just causes where taking a life is permitted. The first is for justice, as retribution for murder, which is known as qisas. The second is to stop people who are spreading violent chaos and destroying society, what the Qur'an calls corruption in the land. And this is absolutely crucial. These are matters for a just state and a legal system, not for personal revenge. And for anyone who ignores this and kills unjustly, the spiritual consequences are just severe. The Qur'an gives a terrifying warning. Whoever kills a believer intentionally, his recompense is hell, and Allah's wrath and curse are upon him. I mean, there's absolutely no ambiguity there at all. So, from protecting life itself, the Qur'an now narrows its focus to protecting the most vulnerable people in society. This brings us to moral standard number 6, which is a powerful command about how we handle the wealth of orphans. And here's something really interesting. we see that same preventative wisdom again. Remember how with the Zina, the command was don't even go near it? It's the exact same phrasing here for the wealth of an orphan. The only time you can approach it is for their own benefit, to protect it, to help it grow until they're old enough. The goal is to completely block every single path to exploitation. And the imagery the Qur'an uses to describe this crime, it is absolutely chilling. Allah says, those who consume the wealth of orphans unjustly are only swallowing fire into their bellies, and they will soon enter a blazing fire. It makes you realize this is so much more than a financial crime. It's a form of spiritual self-destruction. Okay, next up, we get to moral standard number 7. And this one is all about safeguarding the very glue that holds a society together, trust. It's the command to fulfill our promises and our covenants. When the Qur'an talks about a promise, its definition is incredibly broad. We're not just talking about written contracts here. This includes our pledges to Allah, our verbal commitments to other people, even those unspoken social responsibilities we have. It's really about having integrity in every part of our lives. In fact, this is such a big deal that when the Quran describes who the truly righteous people are, it specifically calls out this quality. Part of what makes someone righteous is being one of those who fulfill their promises when they promise. It's just a core, non-negotiable characteristic of a true believer. And this verse right here highlights such a critical principle. Your morality can't be situational. It has to be consistent. The Qur'an tells believers to help their brothers and sisters in faith, but then it immediately adds this crucial condition, except against a people with whom you have a treaty. Think about that. Even in a time of conflict, a treaty, a promise, must be honored. Your integrity has to be absolute. All right, so let's zoom out and tie all of this together. These 4 standards we just walked through, they're not just a random list of rules. They are deeply interconnected pillars designed to build a society that is strong, just, and compassionate. So to recap, we have to guard purity by blocking the paths that lead to sin. We have to sanctify life, truly internalizing that one soul is like all of humanity. We must protect the vulnerable, knowing that taking from an orphan is like swallowing fire. And finally, we have to uphold trust, because every single promise we make is an accountability before Allah. So when you look at it this way, you see that this passage in Surah Al-Isrā is so much more than a list of do's and don'ts. It's literally the architectural blueprint for a moral civilization, a civilization founded on the pillars of purity, security, mercy, and trust. That is the foundation for a society that can truly, genuinely flourish.